All right, it's time for the MLB playoffs starting tomorrow morning. They've got the Tigers and the Astros on ABC at 11:30, but that is the first of the 4 playoff series. Of course, this year in the wild card round, we have the Tigers and the Astros in the American League. That is the 3 versus the 6 matchup. The 4-5, the Baltimore Orioles take on the Kansas City Royals, and then in the National League, you've got the 3-6, the Brewers and the Mets, and the Padres will host the Atlanta Braves. So those are the 4 series we have, and we are going to go over every single one in today's video. And folks, if you haven't yet though, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below for some more predictions here on the channel. We are going to do every step of the way here in the MLB playoffs. So obviously the wild card, then the NLDS and the ALDS and the NL and ALCS, and then of course the World Series as well. We're going to do it every step of the way here on the channel. And if you haven't yet, folks, go make sure to check out our UFC 307 predictions. Posted those yesterday here in the channel with Alex Poetan Pereira taking on Khalil Roundtree Jr. for the UFC's light heavyweight championship. Tomorrow we will have, or actually in 2 days we will have our NFL predictions on the channel, and then tomorrow we will have our college football predictions as well. We do both of those weekly, so go check those videos out again later on the channel as well. Let's start off with our first playoff series here. We've got the Detroit Tigers taking on the Houston Astros. I'm going with the Tigers to get the upset in this series, and I think they actually sweep the Astros. Now, the Tigers have been playing some really good baseball. Disregard their last 2 games with the White Sox. They had already clinched at that point. Those games don't matter anymore. But the Tigers are playing incredible baseball right now. I'm interested. It's got to be Reese Olson, right, for Game 2 for the Tigers, I would think. Obviously, Game 1, you know it's going to be Tarek Skubal. Skubal versus Valdez in Game 1 is going to be electric. And again, it's at 11:30 on the West Coast and 12:30 on the East Coast. Again, and you wonder why the MLB struggles to market their top stars, because this game's on at 11:30 on a Tuesday. But anyways, it should be a good game. It's going to be a pitching battle in Game 1, but I think the Tigers get out of it, and I think the Tigers win the first 2 games in the series. The Tigers are really hot right now, and the Astros, in their own right, they've been playing all right. Of course, they were down, 10 games at one point in the season to the Seattle Mariners in the chase for the AL West, but of course they ended up getting it because the Mariners are the Mariners, and of course as soon as the Mariners got eliminated, they just stopped playing, or they started playing really well, which is ridiculous, but that's the Mariners for you. But anyways, the Astros, of course, this team will never go away, obviously, right? I mean, you see what they were able to do this season. Yordan Alvarez had another amazing year at the plate. Jose Altuve continuing to do his thing. Yainer Diaz has been pretty good. Jeremy Pena has been all right. Bregman was good, too, this season as well in spots. Like, this Astros team has been very good this season. Their pitching, is all right. Obviously, Valdez is very solid. I believe it'll be Hunter Brown in Game 2, I would think. Yeah, I think it's got to be Hunter Brown in Game 2. But I just think the Tigers get to him. Again, the Tigers are the hotter team. That's really, ultimately, in baseball, come the playoffs, that's all that matters. Whatever team is playing better going into the playoffs will likely win. Hell, we've seen that the last couple seasons, especially in the National League, and hell, even the American League last year, right? Of course, seeing the Texas Rangers go away from wild card to world champs. Hell, the Arizona Diamondbacks went from wild card to to NL champions. The Phillies did it the year before. Wild card ended up becoming National League champions. Whatever team is hot going into the playoffs will likely win. I like the Tigers a lot in this series. I really like their pitching. Their bats, for the longest time this season, their bats really concerned me. They're coming along. I think everything is going better now for the Tigers in terms of swinging the bats, and their pitching, again, that's where this team's going to get carried by. It's going to be their pitching. Now, I'd be a little bit scared with this team going in a 5-game series against a better team. Obviously, if they win this one, then they would get the Cleveland Guardians next round, which would be interesting, but I like the Detroit Tigers go out here. I think they beat the Astros, and I think they sweep them 2-0. Give me the Tigers. All right, our next series, we've got the Kansas City Royals taking on the Baltimore Orioles. I like the Orioles to win the series, and I like them to get the sweep as well. I don't think the Royals are that great, and they've really cooled off. Obviously, they had that 8-game losing streak. Obviously, my favorite team, the Washington Nationals, broke their huge losing streak, and the Royals, of course, went into DC and swept them. But I don't really believe in Kansas City all that much. They are very injured, obviously. Vinny Pasquantino out for the year at this point. I believe he's going to be out for the season now. I just don't really trust in this Kansas City team at all. Of course, I really like Bobby Witt Jr. He's one of the best players in all of the game. Obviously, batted .330 around this regular season. But, their pitching's not bad either, right? They're going to have Cole Ragans. They're going to have Seth Lugo go in the first 2 games of the series. I believe it's going to be Michael Wacha in game number 3. But the Baltimore Orioles are just the better baseball team. And I get it. Again, the Orioles, did have their rough patches in August and in September as well, but this is not a bad team at all. You look at what they're going to have pitching wise. This series is going to be Corbin Burns in game 1. He's still a shutdown pitcher. You got Eflin probably going in game 2. You got Dean Kramer going into game 3. And of course the bats are going to show up. I understand they've got some injuries they're dealing with as well, but the bats are destined to show up. They are not going to go back-to-back years in the playoffs and disappointing in the Wild in their first series. Obviously they lost in the ALDS last year to the Texas Rangers. They're not going to disappoint in back-to-back years. I don't think so. Now, we'll see, because I think the Orioles are going to win the series, and then they're going to get that huge series with the New York Yankees, which I don't know if I really favor Baltimore too much in that, just because, the Yankees are really solid, but I really like the Orioles have got going. Obviously, Gunnar Henderson's one of the better, shortstops in all baseball. You got Rutschman, you got Mountcastle and O'Hearn, the platoon at first base. You got Colton Cowser, who was, again, a stud as a rookie this season. Mullins, Santander, that is going to be the outfield for the Baltimore Orioles as well. I just think they're the better team all around. They've got the better pitching, and they've got the better bats as well. Baltimore, it would surprise me a lot if they don't go out here and win this series. Kansas City, other than the top of their order, of course, you're looking at Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt, Salvi. Other than that, I don't like this squad that much. I think, again, once they get deeper into their order, they're just not that great. I think Baltimore's the all-around better team, and they should sweep Kansas City going into this one. So we took the underdogs in the first series, we took the Tigers, now we're taking Baltimore. I believe they are the biggest favorite in terms of, to win the series. They're minus 170. The Royals are coming back at plus 145. It doesn't surprise me at all. Now, there is a series where I think later on in the National League that I think there should be an even bigger favorite in. We're going to get to that very shortly. But Baltimore's the better team. They should beat Kansas City. I think they should do it pretty easily as well. I think they're going to make it look easy again. You can't disappoint back-to-back years at Camden Yards. I don't think they will. Baltimore's going to show up, and they're going to put some runs on the board. I think their pitching should be somewhat shut down as well. To the National League, we start things off here with the Atlanta Braves taking on the San Diego Padres. Now, again, the Padres, like some of these other teams, but the Braves, are very injured. They are very injured going into the series, and what are they going to do? Who is throwing game 1 for Atlanta? I mean, the broadcast today on ESPN was talking about Ian Anderson, who has not pitched a major league game in about 2 years. He's been in AAA for that long, and he might get the start in game number 1 for Atlanta. One would hope Chris Sale could pitch game 2. Obviously, he got pulled from today's game due to a back injury. The Braves still won the second game against the Mets to make it into the postseason. But what is Atlanta going to do? I think they're screwed. And you look at their order too, of course, Ronald Acuña's not playing. Austin Riley's not playing. This team is they're very shallow. I mean, we've got Michael Harris leading off. We're going to have Olsen, Ozuna. Other than that, what do we got going on this team? I mean, Soler is he's all right. Laureano played well today, went 3 for 4 in the first game. But I just don't think this team's really built for the postseason right now. Schwellenbach went today. He's not pitching. Charlie Morton just went 2 days ago. They have no one who can pitch game 1. It's probably going to be Ian Anderson, and I don't know what they're going to do in this series. I don't see a world where the Atlanta Braves win 2 games in this series. The San Diego Padres are all around the much better team. They're going to have, who's going to game 1? It's Michael King. They're going to go Michael King in game 1. They're going to go Musgrave in 2. And they're going to go, if needed, Dylan Cease in game 3. I don't think they're going to need the 3 games. I think the Padres win the first 2. And of course, this sets up for the Padres and the Dodgers in the NLDS. That's a crazy series. I'm going to game 1 of the NLDS, whoever the Dodgers play. I'm really hoping it's the Padres because that's going to be a crazy game. But that's going to be electric if it happens. Padres and Dodgers in the postseason for the first time since the NLDS 2 years ago, where the Padres beat the Dodgers. Yeah, that's going to be incredible. But the Padres are the better team. They obviously have the better pitching. They're better bats too. Tatis has come on. Machado's playing well this season. Yeah, Jackson Merrill's one of the better rookies in all of baseball. If Paul Skeens didn't exist, Jackson Merrill would be the rookie of the year. Luis Arraez, of course, just won another batting title. His 3rd on 3 different teams. You got Bogarts, you got Cronenworth. This team is just much better. Even Higashioka can provide you some power if you need him at the bottom of the order as well. I like San Diego more. I like their bullpen more. They got Tanner Scott, who has been all right. Robert Suarez. You got Jason Adam, of course, they got from Tampa Bay. I like the San Diego team way more than what I like Atlanta in, and especially, again, a Braves team that has no pitching, that is injured. Yeah, this is a rough look for Atlanta going into the series. San Diego is just the much better baseball team, and they should blow Atlanta out the water. I'm taking the Padres to sweep this series. I don't think game 1's competitive. If Sale pitches game 2, it'll be a little bit more competitive. But again, who are the Braves going to throw out there? They don't have pitching. They use Schwellenbach today. Yeah, they're screwed. Give me the Padres to win this series. They're going to do it in 2 games. They're going to sweep at -165. We go on to our final series here. The New York Mets have made it to the postseason. Now, it would have been the most Mets thing ever if the Mets lost back-to-back games today and the Arizona Diamondbacks got into the postseason instead. But now it is the New York Mets. They get in with 89 wins and they take on the Milwaukee Brewers. I think the Brewers win the series. I think they get it done in 3. I like the Mets this year. I really do. But my concern with the Mets is the Brewers always play them really well. The Brewers have played the Mets really well this season, and I just think Milwaukee's better. Now, New York's going to have Luis Severino on the mound for Game 1. I actually think they win Game 1. I know, again, Peralta is probably going. I would assume Peralta's going. Yeah, Peralta's going tomorrow. Game 2, I'm not sure who will go. I think there's a chance the Mets actually win Game 1, but as we get going in this series, I think the Brewers are going to win games 2 and 3. I can't rely on Edwin Diaz. I mean, I understand he got the save today, but I mean, my goodness, the guy didn't cover first base, and then it almost all came crashing down for the Mets today. I don't trust Edwin Diaz. We look at the Mets have got going on here. You got a lot of bats who are just shaky. They're not dependable. Obviously, Francisco Lindor is one of the best players in the game. Obviously, had the go-ahead home run today in at the top of the 9th inning. Lindor is everything that the media makes him out to be. He is a star. And if it wasn't for Ohtani, Lindor would probably win the MVP. I'll make the case that maybe Lindor should win the MVP. But, I understand it should be Ohtani. Pete Alonso, I would consider Alonso to be somewhat of an unreliable bat at this point. He goes through his series where he just doesn't play well. Same thing with some of their other bats as well. Nimmo has that some. Of course, Nimmo with the home run today, but Vientos, Jesse Winker. I like Jose Iglesias. He's been really solid for this team. Obviously turned this team around. Tyrone Taylor had a huge at-bat in today's game to get them into the postseason. But once you get past Severino, Manaea probably gets to start in Game 2. Then David Peterson, I'd assume. Or no, it might be Quintana in Game number 3. That's where I think the Mets lose. I think the Brewers win the back 2 of the series. And I think the Mets will actually shock them in Game 1, even with the Brewers' best pitcher going in Freddie Peralta. I think the Brewers will win those second 2 games. Of course, the Brewers have a stacked bullpen, way better bullpen than the Mets. And then their lineup as well. It was a team that was not supposed to go this far at the beginning of the season, but look at what they've been able to do. Of course, you got Jackson Chourio, obviously the rookie, who's been a sensation this year for Milwaukee. Contreras has been really good for them out of the 3 spot. I think the Brewers are the better team. I think they win it in 3. I think it will be competitive, but give me the Milwaukee Brewers to win over the New York Mets and to advance to the second round to go to Philly to take on the reigning, actually, no, they did not win the NL last year, to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. So the way we have it, we've got Brewers and Phillies in the second round, Padres and Dodgers, and on the American League side, we've got Orioles and Yankees, and we have got Guardians and Tigers in the AL and NLDS. So we'll be back for the divisional series, folks, but thank y'all for watching our quick predictions here for the wild card round of the MLB playoffs. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks, folks. Thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.